Hello again, and welcome back to Making a Mod. This episode is way overdue, but I do have good news. I can see daylight with the 2020 season roster for NBA 2K11. It's taken much longer than I would have liked, but I do feel I'm in the home stretch at this point. A lot of the art is in place, and all the necessary players are created, which is a huge step. Now there are quite a few players that don't have proper faces, but they're mostly deep bench, G League, and two-way players. So the goal is to get faces from them eventually, but they'll have placeholders in the meantime. There's no sense holding back a release just because Dean Wade is without a face. Zion Williamson, Luka Doncic, all the big names from the last couple of years and the all preceding years in between NBA 2K11 and now with all the big players that have come through, they've got faces, so that's the main thing. I'm still making sure that I've placed all the jerseys correctly and updating the various accessory colours, but they're all finishing touches. The bulk of the work at the moment is polishing up player ratings, tendencies, and so forth. As I've mentioned in previous shows, I've decided to streamline the work by getting all the players created first with all their bio data, their heights, weights, etc., and polishing up their ratings afterwards, which is one way of doing it. It's still a lot of work, but it still feels like the most efficient way of doing it, especially as far as avoiding any kind of burnout with creating all the players. At some point, I'll also be copying the finished roster data into a fresh file, choosing different players to overwrite, and the reason I'm doing this is to ensure maximum compatibility with any future updates I make, as well as free up all the created player slots because I've used them all up obviously to create 200 players for this roster and then overwritten other original players, that is. So I do want to free up those created player slots so that anyone can easily customize the roster themselves. After so many years of making roster updates for NBA Live, it's definitely been a learning experience working with NBA 2K's files for the first time, as I've mentioned in previous shows. It's one of the reasons that the mod has taken so long to make, just learning all the ropes and everything and trying to apply my knowledge from NBA Live to NBA 2K and updating the skill set and whatnot, but to that end I am confident that future projects won't take as long as this one has. That's a matter for another time though. When these rosters are done, I don't want to focus on anything else until I get this done because it's already overdue, as I said. Once again, I'm working through all the players' ratings and tendencies, so what you're seeing in these clips is definitely not representative of the final player ratings. Don't worry about that. I'll have a further preview of those ratings out just before the mod is ready to be released, probably the next episode if all goes well, so once again, don't worry about the inaccuracies that you're seeing. You're not going to see something like Zaya Smith being rated in the 90s or anything like that. That is just placeholder ratings from the player that he's overwritten. Of course, once the mod is out, I'll also be open to feedback and corrections about the rosters. Look, with over 400 players in the league, it's impossible not to overlook something somewhere. Years of making rosters for NBA Live has taught me that, so no matter how thorough you try to be, how many times you double check, there is going to be something you overlook. So constructive feedback will be most welcome, no doubt about that. There are some other finishing touches such as player accessories and salaries. Once again, the salaries will be adjusted to fit NBA 2K11's salary cap to ensure compatibility with association mode. Don't want to put the exact salaries from the inflated cap of these days, otherwise association mode will just be unplayable because all the salaries will be far too high. Also be fixing up various audio IDs for players who have overwritten original players, other little things like that just to make sure that it's as detailed as possible and making use of as many assets as possible for the most accuracy possible. At this point, I'm definitely in the polishing and finishing touches stage, having done all the grunt work of creating players and placed a lot of the artwork that I have, so once again it does feel like I'm in the home stretch. Incidentally, for anyone who'd like to help out with missing faces, I've posted an updated list in the NLSC forum. You can actually find a link to that in the description of this video. Also, 2K Love has released his own roster update for 2K11, which is released over on the NLSC. That isn't this update, just to be clear about that, and I can't provide detailed support for that update. In our community, we're all responsible for our own releases, which means, of course, I will be supporting this release once it is out. But as far as 2K Love's roster is concerned, I have linked to that in the description as well, in case you'd like to check it out, along with some troubleshooting info I've put together, just a very basic guide in case you're having trouble with it. Once again, I can't provide too much support for that because it's not my update, but hopefully it will point you in the right direction for getting that to work. Speaking of 2K Love, a big thanks go out to him and his team for helping out with the various art assets. This roster would not be possible without them. With the restart of the season looming, I'm hoping to get everything done around the end of the month or early August in time for the final regular season games and the playoffs are there in the NBA bubble. As I mentioned before, the roster will be freely available on the NLSC, no charges whatsoever. That's not how we do things with the NLSC. There'll be an announcement when it's out and download links will be posted. Don't worry about that. I'll definitely let you know. If you ask me for a download link at the moment, all I can say is please sit tight because it's not out yet, but we are in the home stretch, as I said. I'm really looking forward to getting the roster out so that we've got a great resource to keep the Classic up to date, And as I said, I'd like to try my hand at some other projects once this is done, but I am focusing on getting this done first. Otherwise, I'm going to spread myself too thin, and it means I can't give appropriate attention to this roster and any other projects that I want to do. But stay tuned after this roster comes out, because I'm sure there'll be other fun things to come, hopefully with some collaborations with other people in the community. In the meantime, thank you so much for your patience. I know that everybody's been waiting for this update for years now. It's gone through a few seasons worth of updates and been pushed through, but we're finally in the home stretch, or it certainly feels that way. So thank you again for your patience. Please stay tuned for more details. You can also keep an eye on the release topic over in the NLSC forum for further updates. Once again, that is linked in the description. So please keep an eye on that. Check out these final previews for the moment, and until next time, take care.